Hey everybody and welcome. I'm certainly glad you could join me today. In this video I'm going to show you how to create and use Minecraft blocks in Daz Studio. Thank you to everybody who has subscribed and hit the notification icon. It really helps me out to know how many people want to see my content. Also a huge thank you to my patrons and members. Your names will be running across the bottom of the screen as we speak. If you are interested in supporting the channel, you can either become a member by hitting the join button next to the subscribe button, or you can visit the Patreon links in the description below. So let's get right into this then. So as you can see, I've already got a couple of blocks set up here and they look great. But I'm going to show you, before we do anything else, I'm going to show you obviously how to create these blocks. So we're going to jump into texture shaded mode. We're going to just move these out of the way like so. In fact, you know what, I'm just going to delete them. That will go nice and easy. So obviously the starting point of this is to create a cube. So what we want to do is we want to click on this icon in the top that looks like three shapes squished together, and we're going to check that the drop down menu is set to cube. We're going to check that the size is 1 meter and the divisions is 1. If you have anything different, then change them to match these settings. 1 meter size, 1 division. And we're going to hit accept. And we're going to back away from the cube a little bit by using our S key. And then we can rotate around using our nobble there. But we're going to hit the reset view button, which is this one with an arrow in it. And we're going to select our geometry editor tool, which is this one up here that looks like a little checkerboard with a pencil hovering over it. So what we need to do is, in our scene tab, make sure the cube is selected, and we need to select the faces individually. We're going to right click and check that your selection type is on polygon and your selection mode is on drag, and then you're just going to click on that one, and then you're going to right click on it and you're going to hit geometry assignment, create surface from selected, and this one we're just going to call top, like so. Then this one we're going to assign that another surface from selected, and we're going to call this front. And it's important to do this for all the sides, because some Minecraft blocks have different faces depending on whether they are on the top, front, back, bottom, whatever. So just make sure that you label these all. And obviously remember that because the front is facing this way, even though you're facing the cube this way, this is actually the left hand side and not the right hand side. So something to remember. And once we've done all of that, nearly there. This one's our right side. And then last but not least, we've got our bottom face down here. Don't forget the bottom. Like that. Now, what you could do at this point, and I highly recommend you doing, is going into your content library. As you can see, I've already got some saved here. What I'd highly recommend you do is save this as a scene subset and just call this one blank. And that way, if you accidentally save over it or something else like that, you've always got this to fall back on. So the next step to this, now that we've got our cube set up with the surfaces, is obviously to assign the surfaces with textures. Now you can get hold of high-res versions of the vanilla textures just by searching on Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever your search engine of choice is. Just type in high-res Minecraft vanilla textures and you'll be sent to lots of different modding forums and they'll be there. So I will assume that you're about to go and do that, and if you haven't, please go and do that now and then come back to this video when you're ready. Okay, so now we've done that, what we need to do is we need to decide which block we're going to create first. Now, if we look at the content library, I've already created grass, dirt, cobblestone, log, planks, and a redstone lamp, which is switched on. So I think I'm going to create sand this time. Now sand is lucky in that it has all of the sides are the same texture, so I can just shift click all 6 faces like this. Yep, I seem to have, oh that's the default, we don't need that, we can actually just ignore that one, but we'll give it that anyway. There we go. We'll just select it. So what we're going to do is at the top here with all of these selected, you should see base color, and with the number 7 above it because we've got seven surfaces selected. And we're going to click the down arrow and then browse, and then it should navigate you to wherever you've got your textures saved. So navigate to that, and then in my case I'm going to type in sand, and we're going to hit OK, and there we go. That's my texture applied. Now what you will find is that the textures are all wrong by which I mean they are too blocky, and the reason for that is that if we come down, you need to set the horizontal tiles up correctly. For some reason when you import these textures they come in 3 times too big, so we need to actually change the horizontal tiles to 3 and the vertical tiles to 3. Now that we've got our texture applied to our cube, we're going to call this sand so that we know what it is. Then we're going to open up our content library to our folder again, and we're going to save as a scene subset, and we're going to call it sand. Like that, it'll come up with this menu. We just hit accept, and that's ready to go. And now the beauty of saving as a scene subset, if I have my move tool selected and I move this across by 1, if I now drag this in, there you go, it just creates a new copy. Perfect, eh? And that's basically all we're going to do. We're going to create all of our surfaces, and then once we actually go into NVIDIA iRay mode, you can see, there we go. Perfect, ready to rock and roll. So remember, change your UV tiling by 3 by 3, and basically do that for all of the blocks. In the blocks where there's obviously, for example, grass block, we know that there is a different surface on the top to the one that there is on the sides, so, and obviously the bottom. So you would obviously need to apply the dirt texture to the bottom and apply the grass top texture to the top, and then apply the color to it because it's gray, which is how the game Minecraft actually calculates the kind of color of the grass when you're in a biome. So when you're doing this, it's always does pay to quickly kind of have a look around your objects and just check that your textures are actually correctly lined up and ready to rock and roll. So once you've done that with a few different blocks, come back to this video and I'll show you how to go on to the next step. So now you've got a few blocks set up, we can start working on our scene. So before we start dragging items into the scene, we've got a blank scene, we've reset the camera like so, and we've got our move tool selected. Now what we want to do is come into our tool settings, and we're going to hit enable on snapping, and we're going to set the distance. Make sure you set this to 100 centimeters. If you don't do it, it could go wrong. Now what you could do, which is what I'm about to do, is actually change that to 50. Because there are half blocks in Minecraft and you may want to create those as well. So there we go, we've set that to 50 centimeters. We're going to come back to our content library and we're going to start creating. So we're going to drag a grass block in there, and we can just leave that one where it is. That can be like our base. We can drag another one in. So we're going to move that across, drag another one in, and we're going to move that one there, and we're going to put this one here, and we're going to drag another one in. Remember to select the one that you've just created, and as you can see very quickly, thanks to Minecraft's blocks being 1 meter by 1 meter, we can create this landscape. Now what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to select all of them. No, I'm not, sorry. What I'm actually going to do is move them away from the center of the scene. And the reason I'm going to do that is because eventually it's going to become quite cumbersome having to try and figure out where the center of the scene actually is. So we should move our blocks away from there so that when we create a new block, we can always grab it straight away. So yeah, we can keep dragging these in and plopping them together like so. And then perhaps we want to put some sand on there as well. And you can create a cool little scene. Now, what you can do is, if you want to, if you know exactly how many blocks you want, you could just drag one grass block into the scene and then create a whole load of node instances. But because this is basic geometry and really basic textures, you don't necessarily need to do that in order to save on memory. Although, having said that, this scene tab is going to get very full very quickly. So yeah, be mindful of that when you are creating these things. And we're just gonna something really basic just to demonstrate the power of Daz Studio Minecraft blocks. So we're going to do a few more of these just for symmetry. Like this. And then I'm going to create one planks. Going to drag that into here, and then I'm going to pull that up. And I'm going to put a redstone lamp above that, like so. And then if we go into NVIDIA iRay mode, you can see at the moment that because we've got our HDRI turned on, you can't tell whether the lamp is actually glowing or not. So what we're going to do is come into our render settings and we're going to switch to scene only. And as you can see, I've actually set up the redstone block to glow. So if I was to select that and then go into the surfaces tab, we can come down to our emissions, and we've got emission, color, temperature and all that sort of thing, but it's actually a bit dim at the moment. So if we was to change it to 500, there you go. That gives us the illusion of the redstone lamp actually glowing. Almost as probably not far off how bright they are actually in the game. So there you go. I hope you found this useful. I look forward to seeing your creations. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.